Chase Bliss MOOD. Looking good. Looking good to me. What's up, you frickin' nerds? I'm trying not to swear so much in these videos because I am now monetized. Yeah, YouTube. No swearing. I'm an Australian and I find that personally offensive. That's not what we're here to talk about. Today we're here to talk about one of my favorite pedals of all time. You've seen the frickin' title, man. You've seen the bloody title. You know what the pedal is about. And before we get into it, I just want to throw out a quick disclaimer. This is not going to be an in-depth video. This is not going to be a super in-depth Mark Johnston style, hour-and-a-half long, fucking let's look at every single feature and spend 30 minutes on every single knob and switch. Okay, this is a very self-indulgent video where I just want to talk about and gush about a pedal or pedals that I love and have used for many, many years. And yeah, I just want to talk about it and talk about why I love it. So self-indulgence. If you want to hear my perspective on the Chase Bliss MOOD, let's not beat around the bush here, then please stick around. If not, then fuck off. There it is, too late now. I have notes on my phone because I don't want to forget anything. Chase Bliss MOOD. So, Mark I, Mark II. What the fuck is the go? So, it all started with the Mark I. Now, this was released by Chase Bliss Audio, who, you know, they're a company from America. They make pedals, really expensive, but really cool, unique, funky pedals. Well, depending on who you ask, cool, unique, funky pedals, or absolute straight bleep bloop nonsense pedals. I'm somewhere in the middle of that. I think some of their pedals are really cool. I think some of their pedals are a little bit, maybe not quite to my taste, a little bit too bleep bloop nonsensey. I'm going to adjust the microphone. But the MOOD, so this was released in 2019 and it has become a bloody bestseller, #1 smash hit, first track on the greatest hits record for Chase Bliss. They sold so many of these things and I was day one, motherfucker. Day one. Let me show you something. Look at this. Wooden box. I'm starting to feel like Josh from JHS. Look at all this. It's got a fucking manual and bag and wood. Look at that. Number 147. 147. And look at this thing. It's fucking faded because of where it used to sit at my last house. The morning sun would come in and it's bleached the pedal where my pedal board used to sit. It's scratched. It's dirty. It's a bit rusty. That. A bit ASMR. Oh, yeah. How good was that? So this thing has been through the wars. I use this thing so fucking much. It basically, since I got it in 2019, it has never left my pedal board. There was a brief period of time where I had the blooper on there, but then I decided, and the count to 5, Montreal Assembly count to 5, but I decided at the end of the day, I liked the MOOD better than both of them. And recently, only this year, I got the MOOD Mark II. Now, they released this a couple of years ago. I could not tell you when, maybe 2022, 3? 2023, maybe? But I kind of sat on my hands about it. It's an expensive pedal, and I was having so much fun with the MOOD Mark I, and kind of the MOOD Mark I was like everything I needed, and it was like, oh, do I really need the Mark II? But I kind of, I finangled my way, if you can see up, oh god, this is very confusing. I can't get it. If you can see up, oh, everything's mirrored. If you can look up there, right fucking there, is the mystery box. I did not get this in the mystery box. I got a clean in the mystery box, but I managed to swap myself the clean for this. Nothing against the clean. I just don't really use compressors much. And if I actually don't own one, but if I were to get one, it would be pretty simple. Clean looked like a cool pedal, just wasn't for me. But the MOOD Mark II, managed to trade my way up to this, and I have been playing it for the last few months. And I have some thoughts about the two of these, but I want to go over a few other things first. I want to talk about how I use either MOOD and why I think this pedal is so special. Now, the main way I kind of use it is, it's actually changed over the years. I used to mainly use the slip mode, which is kind of like a pitched thing. So I guess maybe I should go over some controls first, just quickly. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go over some controls. So the pedal seems complicated, right? But it actually isn't complicated. I see a lot of people being like, oh, I don't know how I'd use it. I don't even know where to start. It's actually really quite simple. So think of this side of the pedal as your wet effect. So kind of think of them as almost two separate pedals that can work together, right? This side of the pedal is wet. So this foot switch activates wet. So you have reverb over here, then you have a delay, then you have the slip mode, which is kind of like a pitch shifted delay, which can be reversed, it can be forward, blah, blah, blah. Over here, you have the micro looping side, and where you have kind of 3 different types. You have the envelope, which kind of, you can micro loop something and then you play and it stutters. You have the tape, which is my favorite, which is kind of sounds like a tape thing and you can reverse it and all this stuff. And you have stretch, which basically takes elements of your playing and stretches them out. And then you can control and modify and change each kind of sound with these 2 controls. You have a mix overall, and then you have the clock, which basically controls speed, fidelity, the record time, everything like that. I used to pretty much just use the slip and the tape mode, right? And I would just use them for like, I had a few points in certain songs and certain bands, but I would basically just use it for like noise on stage. Recently, kind of towards the end, not towards the end, but a little bit ago, when I started exploring more of the sounds, because on the Mood Mark I, the reverb has this weird kind of cone filtery type thing to it, which I never quite enjoyed. I never use the delay because it's just a standard digital delay, and I always have a delay on my board, so I never used it. But the slip was really where it's at, and I kind of use that for different songs. There's a song in my current band where the solo sound is the slip. It's like, it's set as like a unison reverse repeat. So it's this kind of reversed repeat, but it's not like a reverse delay. It's different, and I have the mix quite high. I actually have a preset saved on this pedal and on this pedal, but I haven't quite nailed it on this one. But a preset saved on this pedal to be that was that exact sound that I used when we recorded it, and I used it live until obviously I switched to this. You started using the Mood to do that thing where you like have like an ambient pad, right? I used to use the Walrus Audio Slow for that, but I recently chucked the slow off my board because I got a bit sick of it and did some rearranging. So I was like, well, if I use the reverb on the Mood and then pair it with one of the other micro loop modes and kind of use them at the same time, right, then I can kind of create that pad and still have a reverb, because most reverb pedals, right, this is a big gripe of mine, they might have a latch function where you can kind of play a chord and then you can press a button and it will sustain that chord. But most pedals, you have to hold your foot on the switch, which to me makes zero fucking sense. I don't want to hold my foot on the switch when I'm on stage. I want to be able to press the button and have it latch. And the slow was perfect. You could press the button, it would latch it, you'd press it, and it would fade out. And that was really important, that's why I stuck with the slow for so long. But then I wanted to change, so I tried it with this. And then I found that because you can, this is another control I forgot, this is the same on both pedals. You can choose here, you can choose whether the wet effects are affected by, like the wet effects, you can choose whether they affect both the looper channel and your playing, or one or the other. So you can have it where the loop is dry, but your playing is affected, or the other way around, where the loop is affected by the wet sound and your playing is dry, which does come in handy quite a bit actually. And so basically I'd set the reverb and then I'd play some stuff, grab it with the micro looper, which is really cool. Like, it's always listening, so you just kind of play and then smack the button after you play something. Very spontaneous, very cool, one of the main reasons I love it. But yeah, so that kind of became my thing. That's how I got that sound. That's what made me restart exploring. So I kind of found what I wanted to use the Mood for, and I kind of didn't really do much more. Like when I first got it, I explored, I found the sounds I liked, and then I just kind of was like, this is what I use the Mood for, and that's it. But now it's kind of like, yeah, let's do some ambient pads, let's do some other cool stuff, let's explore some sounds. That brings me to the Mood Mark II. Now the Mood Mark II has a cool function. Let's talk about some differences actually. So the Mood Mark II and the Mood Mark I are ostensibly the same pedal, but the algorithms are slightly adjusted. The reverb in this is weird and cone filtery. The reverb in this pedal is normal. I don't know what they did to the delay or the slip, if I'm going to be honest. And then they did some stuff to the other modes as well, which probably would be in the manual. Actually, look at this. Look at the box. Here you go. Josh Scott coming out again. Look at this freaking manual, man. Look at this freaking manual. Like it's like a fucking booklet with all artwork and stuff. I mean, you know, they're expensive. Their pedals are expensive as fuck, but at least you get what you pay for, you know? Anyway, throw that on the ground. So I think they changed some stuff about the algorithms. It's fine. I will get to my personal opinions on which one of these two I prefer at the end. But they changed some stuff. But one big thing is that there's trails. Positive. Big positive for me. I love trails. And then there's a latch function, which means on the reverb, you can play a chord, hold that button, or you can either hold your foot switch on it, hold your foot on the foot switch, and it will sustain, or you can flick a little fucking dip switch up the back here, and then you hold it, and it grabs it, and you don't have to do anything. And that's great. But this is my only ambient reverb. So, I have continued to do the same thing I used to do with the Mood Mark I, where I will have a reverb sound, and then I will use that reverb sound to feed into, because that's the other thing, right? If I play with reverb from the pedal, that reverb will be fed into the looper side so that it will actually record the reverb as well. So it kind of helps to smear things, right? Helps to smear the loop before it's even been recorded. Then the loop is fed back through the reverb once again. I believe that's how it works. If I'm wrong, correct me down below. But it helps to really smear things out so you kind of get this rhythmless ambient pad. And just the other night, a couple nights ago, my band played a show, and this is how we started the show. Kind of as we were setting up, it was like our headline show, brag about. Also, I've been instructed by my manager to plug my band more in these videos. So please check out Citizen Rat at citizen.rat on Instagram, I think. Citizen Rat on Spotify. Check out our song Shut My Mouth, all that good shit, please. Yeah, I'm contractually obligated to plug the shit out of my band now. But anyway, we came on stage, and I was setting up, and then I set the loop and turned the volume down, came on stage, and then kind of turned it up, and it started this ambient pad, and then I did some like David Gilmour-esque shit, you know, on stage, kind of as the rest of the band walked on, and it was really cool, and it's perfect for that sort of thing. Some other differences. On the Mood Mark II, you can have independent control of how loud the wet and dry channel are. So you can kind of, the secondary functions, you can adjust the specific volume, whereas on Mood Mark I, it was just one shared volume knob. Also, like no latching or anything on this one. This one has an overdub function, which I have mucked around with a bit. It's quite fun. I didn't do anything in the playing segments on that because this is not a comprehensive review. Shut up. But it's quite cool. You can kind of, because I have the latch thing on, I kind of have to hold it to engage overdubbing, then hold it again to turn off, like to turn it off and like have my new little extra bit. But you couldn't do that on this one. Kind of, you set the loop and that was it. Also on this one, if you record a loop on the envelope mode and you go, how would this sound in the tape mode? You just flick that bad boy over and it carries over. Not an option on this one. And then of course the big one, this one is stereo, this one is not. Now, I don't use stereo much, so that doesn't bother me. I did do some stereo stuff for the intro track, and you're probably hearing the Chase Bliss Mood stereo ambient loop while I'm talking right now. Brendan, this is a reminder for future you to add the ambient shit in behind the talking. Please do it. But yeah, that's kind of, it was an absolutely nonsensely rambling way of how I go about using the Chase Bliss Mood Mark I and Mark II. So I don't know if there's been playing already, but you know what? Let's cut to some playing and then we'll come back for some opinions and shit. So let's go some opinions. Why do I love this pedal? Which one do I prefer and why? So first of all, I love this pedal because it does multiple different things that I quite enjoy, and it does some things that not many other pedals can do. The delay, I actually did use that delay sound. I stole this sound from, I can't believe I'm going to admit this, Red Shull. But if he showed in his video, he had this sound where you kind of like set the time to be really quick and the repeats really high on the delay sound, kind of like that. And it kind of almost sounds like a weird fucked up spring reverb. It's a cool sound, used it in the track, used it in the playing segment. So I love this pedal because it does stuff not many other pedals can do. The micro looping side is so fun and unique. I actually think the wet side was more unique in the Mood Mark I. I think I didn't like the cone filtering reverb at first, but I came to really like it towards the end of my time using the Mark I regularly. But the reverb in here is much more normal, but you have a classic switch. So you can flick that switch down, baby. Flick that switch down, and you're back to Mood Mark I. I've heard some rumblings that some of the things aren't exactly the same, but I have not experienced that in my time. Also, there used to be a bunch of like noise and stuff in this one. Like if you turn the clock down, it'd be all like aliasing and noisy, and like that's removed a good deal, pretty much completely from this version. It does stuff that no other pedal can do. It does multiple jobs at once, and it's just freaking fun to play, man. It's just fun. It's inspiring. It inspires me to play. One of my favorite things to do after like a long day of work or whatever, if I just want to play some guitar, I'll just pull up a funky loop on here, and then I'll just go for it. I'll use this in conjunction with my other pedals and just do some ambient bullshit. Like, it's not very conducive to, improving as a musician, as a guitarist, but it's fun, and guitar's meant to be fun, and you're meant to enjoy doing it. Somewhat. Anyway, now, which one do I prefer? I actually think, controversial opinion, I prefer the Mark I. In a lot of ways, I prefer the Mark I. Now, that could just be because I've used it for so many years and I'm so intimately aware and familiar of how this pedal sounds and how it works. But there is a certain charm about this one that I think is lost on this pedal. On the Mark II, the Mark II is a lot more clinical. Let's talk about how you have the independent mix controls, right? I never felt the need to have an independent mix control on this. I felt like the channels were perfectly balanced, whereas sometimes on this, the wet channel will be so quiet, and then you kick in a loop, and suddenly the looper channel is so much louder, and it's like, you guys had it right this time around. You had it right on this one. And same with the clock noise. A lot of people complain about the clock noise. I like the charm. I like the clock noise. I think it's a bit of fun. I think, maybe it's just because I'm biased and I use this for so long and know how to use it so well. And this one is it's the same thing, but it's just a bit different. I don't necessarily think it's worse, but I definitely think it's a bit different. And I don't necessarily love the differences. I do like the reverb on this, but even like the slip mode has kind of lost a bit of its charm. But there are other things that this does really well. Obviously, like the latch on the reverb, the overdub mode. There's a thing called no dub, which I don't exactly know what to use, but I don't know how to use, but whatever. It's fine. I also love the trails. Trails is a big one for me, so I probably prefer the sound of this one better, but thankfully all the classic sounds are in here, so if I can't find, sounds within Mood Mark II that I enjoy more, I might just flick that classic switch down and fucking leave it, brother. Just leave it alone, brother. I'm dying at it. Where's my water bottle? It's all over there. It's fine. We're wrapping up here. So that is why I love the Mood. Let's go to some playing, actually, real quick. So yeah, we've reached the end of the video. Mood Mark 1, probably my favorite. It's an OG. It's probably my favorite. Mood Mark 2 has a lot to offer. It might be what you want. Yeah, they've got that classic switch on the back, on the dip switches, so if you're in the market for the mood sound and you've got the cash, I would probably just recommend going straight ahead and getting the 2. But if you're a bit unsure if it's going to be something for you, pick up a Mark 1 used. They're probably going to be way cheaper now. Just pick it up and play around with it. And, I think this is a vibey pedal. This one's a little bit more clinical, a little bit cleaner. And it's more, do you want vibe or do you want clean and like modern features? That's up to you. But, I love them both. I'll keep them both. Maybe I'll swap back to the 1 for a while. Maybe I won't. Who bloody knows? But one thing I do know is that is the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And go watch one of the other many videos if you want on YouTube, if you want to hear a comparison between the two, if you want an in-depth video, review, demonstration, go check out any of the other videos. That wasn't the purpose for today. I just wanted to have a bit of fun and talk about a pedal that I love. Anyway, thanks for watching. Goodbye. Fuck off.